Welcome to Talented Universe on this glorious November 6th, 2024. Before I go in, I am Michael Day. I'd like to welcome you all, those in the chat room, live or streaming later. We appreciate you being here. I'd like to introduce my co-host, Vernon. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thanks, Michael Day. It's been a good day. Thanks, man. How about you?
Been a wonderful day. Yeah, it's been good here. Just trying to get myself moving, and it's 80 degrees in DC today, and it's a little warmer than I expected it was going to be. They said it was probably going to make records, so I said, okay, but it's not going to be that hot. And I mean, it was 80 degrees at noon. So that was pretty bad. But anyway, we are here not to talk about the weather. We are here to talk to Adam Bohanan. And from The Voice, Team Reba, Adam, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Before we get started, do you want to just give kind of an overview of who you are? And unless you don't want to say anything and be a mystery.
I'd love to say something. Yeah, I'd love to say something. I'm a Minnesota-based musician. I've been a wedding singer for a very long time. And I started doing wedding singing in New York when I was living out there. I moved to the Twin Cities. My wife is from here. So I moved to the Twin Cities from there right in early pandemic.
Oh.
Yeah. And
great time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had to get out of New York, It was a really bad time to be in New York.
Yes.
So we got out of New York, and I've been living in the Twin Cities for about 4 years now. As I said, I started doing music when I was very young, but I started like doing wedding singing when I was like in my like early 30s to late 20s. I got in with a band out in New York, and we worked a lot on some weddings and events around the tri-state area. And then when I moved out here, I was flying back to New York to do some gigs out there. And then I started working with a band out here it's kind of like an amalgamation of all the local bands and stuff. So it's not one band, it's just a bunch of different musicians. It's a coalition of musicians that work and do like events and stuff in the Twin Cities. And that's where I met a lot of great, amazing musicians out here, which was a really, really great. Kevin Gastanagwe, who plays with Corey Wong's band. I played with him a few times. I met a lot of really great musicians out here, but yeah, then I decided to go on The Voice I made the decision to go on The Voice last year because I was getting old. So I was like, yeah, no, it happens to the best of us. But I decided since I'm getting older, I should try and like capitalize on my voice while I still can, if I can. So that's what I did. I came on The Voice, and now I'm on Team Reba.
Come on, Adam, that voice is still fresh, man. You got another 50 years in you.
I'm trying to keep it that way.
There's another 30 years at least in there. Come on. Come on now. No, dude, no. We just, both of us, even before you came on, we just said like, yeah, what a voice. I told you as well. Just props for having mad skill. And it's just nice to listen to, there's so much attitude. And I guess the one thing you're joking now about, being experienced in years.
But I mean, term, yes, experience.
Yeah, but it tells in just your musical interpretation, and I think people just got the vibe straight away when you got into your blind audition, and it just gave so much flavor. And one thing that stood out for me was just your interaction with the coaches as well. I mean, that line that you gave Snoop, that was, if it wasn't just for the voice, it was for that as well. Like you had a great audition, and then you had that line that you gave Snoop. Yeah, I don't think anyone sees things like you, Snoop.
See, okay, so let me just say something about that line. I said it, and I thought, and I just said it to be because I was being funny or whatever.
Yeah.
But like after I said it, I realized that oh, that's gonna be on television. Because I was like, that's in my head. I was like, that's too funny not to put on television. I
love that you did,
and it was really quick. And I said it, and I turned, and like after I spoke to my wife was watching the whole thing, and we drove back in the car together, and she was like, that was so funny. And I was like, yeah, I said something fun. That's like, I'm out here to be the comic relief, I guess, on this show. So like, I was very happy with like that.
Oh man, no, that was a great moment. And yeah, just talking about just growing up. Take us back a bit, just where your influences came from. I mean, I read a bit of your bio, but yeah, just where did you find your foundation for what you now do? And I mean, I love the dirty soul that you do, but what got you into forming your own personal style?
So okay, that's a great question. I started very young. I've been a lover of music for a very long time, and I've been a singer since I was very young. And my mom we lived in Israel, and my mom used to have me sing her sort of like songs about like some Israeli songs.
Yes.
And then we moved to England, and my mom was a big influence musically on my life, and so I was just always singing what she wanted to hear, like songs that she'd like to like hear me sing to her.
Yeah.
And she was really into like Carole King and Joni Mitchell and Taylor Swift, James Taylor.
Okay.
Same diff, right? No.
Yeah.
No.
Taylor,
James Taylor,
it's
and
all the
and
same.
Bob, right. Bob Dylan, that sort of stuff. And the Beatles, she was very into the Beatles and Elvis and all that. And so I was singing all that stuff to her when I was very young. And then when I was about 14 or so, I worked at a market in England. We were living in England at the time. And I worked at a market in England, and I went to this stand that had a bunch of like culturally Black music. So it was like neo soul and Motown and all this other stuff. And I was like really into that. I was like, what is this thing that because my father wasn't around growing up. So like I didn't have influence from my Black side.
Okay.
And so I started listening to more Motown and classic soul, and also neo soul, like Musiq Soulchild and Jaheim and like Bilal and those sort of stuff. And then also like all the Motown, so like Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye, and then then Al Green, and I was influenced by a lot of things, but I still had the roots of like that folk Americana that my mom's loved so much.
Yeah.
And so that like kind of veered me into like working in sort of the singer-songwriter sphere, because I did a lot of open mics. Like my dad, when he was like when I moved to New York, gave me a guitar, and so I started teaching myself to play guitar, and I played I was like making these songs by like out of like the chords that I learned that week or whatever. And so I wrote a lot of very like soulish sort of songs, but they still had the roots of like, because I'm playing it on guitar and I'm playing it at an open mic, it didn't have the like horns in the background, it didn't have drums, it didn't have keys. It was just like very stripped down and very basic, and it made it more lean into like a more classic soul style. Okay. And so that brought me in with I at that open mic, I met a guitar player who I started a band with out in New York, and we started writing music together. And he's a folk Americana guy, and I'm like at that point I was like a funk R&B guy, and so like we kind of melded our styles together, and we created a band called On the Sun, which is still kind of around. But when I went out on my own to do my own thing, I liked bands like The Dip. It's a American band. They're very like they speak to my heart. Also, like the California Honey Drops, which these are all like really soulful bands that are like gritty, like Ray LaMontagne, or like they have like this sort of like basic, like you feel like you've done a hard day's work when you're listening to these songs. You know, that's the kind of music that I like to sing, and it also really fit my voice. You know, I had to lean into what works with my voice the best. And so that's why I started making like the lean into dirty soul. That's how I got there. Yeah.
Nice. And
that is something. Do you have a follow-up, Vernon, or should I go to one of the questions in the chat room so he can be tormented by something?
We can go for the question so long. I'll keep one locked and loaded.
Okay, sounds good. Arc54 asks, what made you choose Home for the Blinds? It felt like the song has a special meaning for you.
So I appreciate that question a lot, because it does have a special meaning to me. Besides like the song itself being about like, you know, coming home to your roots and all that, which is very personal to me. I also I used to work at, this is really funny, I used to work at Hard Rock Cafe in Times Square, and that song would play all the time. And I'm not gonna like I'm, you know, there aren't a lot of songs that I was listening to at Hard Rock Cafe that really spoke to me. So like I would just like be walking around Hard Rock Cafe in a daze, and then all of a sudden Home would come on, and I would be singing it at the top of my voice every single time, no matter what time of day it was. Like I would just be like, this is my jam. And so like that was one of the main reasons why I chose that one. It just felt comfortable for me. It felt personal. It felt like I was going back to singing it while working at the bar in Hard Rock Cafe. It just really felt personal. Yeah, you know.
Full circle, basically.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's so cool. That's very cool, man. Just because I'm curious, I want to go back a little bit. Do you also speak Hebraic? I think I'm saying that right.
Hebrew. I speak a little Hebrew. Yeah, I lived in Israel for about 6 years, so I speak a little Hebrew. I don't have a lot of people to talk to, so that's kind of difficult. So like when you don't speak something for a long time, it kind of like goes away a little bit. But yeah, I do speak. Yeah.
But that's so cool, man. Like you got different seasons, like growing up, right?
Yeah.
You had the Israel experience, you had time in England, you know, obviously in the US. So how do those fit together as well? Like obviously we spoke about musically, but just informing you as a person, you would say.
Yeah. So how does it inform me as a person? You know, I will tell you right now, it kind of messed me up because like I, you know, got like dropped into these different cultures, and I kind of like was like growing up, I kind of had to figure out the culture that I was in every time. Like when I moved from Israel to England to Houston, I lived for a little while, to New York, to Minnesota. Like every time I land in a new culture and I have to figure out how I fit into that culture. It doesn't really give me a lot of time to figure out myself, which is why I actually like loved like when I discovered like Black music, with like and how I felt about it myself. It really like felt like I was connected to it, and that was one of the main points where I felt like I discovered myself inside music, which was, you know, I very vividly remember the feeling of like, this is me, this is what I have been meant to do this whole time, which you know, so like yeah, it informs me as a person, like the different cultures and because like I, you know, speak in certain ways that people don't understand. Sometimes I'll have an accent, especially if I'm hanging around my my English friends.
Yeah.
You know, it pushes me in to like focus on what I believe is right in the world and what is wrong in the world. And so like I will lean to certain ways based on where the foundation was set in my life. Yeah. So yeah, it definitely informs me as a person. Yeah.
Thanks, man. You know, I know that's a pretty deep one, but it's just fascinating. And like we said earlier, you're welcome to say no, but I mean, thanks for sharing that with us.
Here is a question that's going to rock your world, Adam, because of this probably has a lot to do with the time that you were in England.
Okay.
Question from a fellow Whovian, I must ask.
Okay.
Who is your doctor, and are you looking forward to the Christmas episode this year?
Okay, so yes, Elizabeth, that's a great question. That's a really good question because I am always looking forward to the Christmas episode, obviously. And my I can show it here because I wasn't allowed to show it on the show. One sec. Because you know, like we're not allowed to do certain things. But I can show these. These are my tattoos.
Oh my.
Yeah, so that's for your nightmares right there.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
But my favorite doctor, I know that I have Matt Smith's sonic screwdriver on me, but because that's the coolest sonic screwdriver. But my favorite doctor is actually as you can imagine, as most people would agree, is David Tennant. Yes, yeah. David Tennant's my favorite doctor.
I think
there's only one right answer to that question, unless you're like including like Tom Baker, you know.
Well, unless you talk about the classic, then you go. Then then it's Tom Baker.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Who was in the new versions, but that's a whole other.
Yeah, right.
That's a whole other topic to discuss. Building on that, is that the first time when you were in the UK? Is that when you were exposed to Doctor Who, or had you watched it before that?
No, so I wasn't exposed to Doctor Who before I moved to the UK, but I moved to England when I was 10 years old. So I watched
pretty young.
I was really young. So I watched a lot of Doctor Who I watched a lot of the old Doctor Who when I was in England, and I also watched this show out in England called Coupling. You might know it, some might know it. But the creator of Coupling was also one of the creators of the new Doctor Who. So, and he kept trying to push Doctor Who. So like there was one character in the last season of Coupling that was just like wearing always like wearing like different Doctor Who things, talking about Doctor Who, and he had this one he had this one sweater that said "Bring back Doctor Who." It was like amazing. And then like literally like 2 years later, Doctor Who came back. It was great.
Yeah, great strategy, marketing strategy. That's
which he probably knew that was going to happen.
Oh yeah, I think that's what he was going for.
Oh, I'm sure it was. You know, it's just like, let me get this in here while I can, and you know, push it really hard. Elizabeth has a follow up. She goes, "Oh, I love those tattoos." So I just wanted to throw that.
Thank you so much.
So she loved those. Vernon, I'll go back to you. I think you had something you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, it is a generic one, but it's still fascinating. We've asked quite a few of your teammates and others as well on your season, but just how much do you remember of that first moment that you walked on stage? Some of them have said, you know, it was kind of like a blackout, and when you watch it back, then it's like it's coming back, but it's almost like your subconscious is taking over or something in that moment. So how was that experience going on stage for you there?
So yes, you're absolutely right. I've spoken to a lot of other people who have been on the show, and most of them said like, yeah, they blacked out at that time, because it's one of those things where it's just like a rush of emotions and you're just dealing with everything at once. And your body goes into this like fight or flight or freeze, thing. And you're just like, your mind is, it's an out of body experience. For me, yes, I did. I absolutely blacked out. luckily I am like a kind of like a robot when it comes to like live performance. So like if I know the thing, I'll just go and do it.
Nice.
And I, you know, I've been a wedding singer and a live performer. I've been a live performer for like 20 years. I've been a wedding singer for like 10 years. So I'm just like, it was like more muscle memory than anything.
Okay.
And yeah, and I was a little scared to. I was talking to somebody else. I was talking to Cameron Wright, who's another artist on the show, and we were talking, and they said like it's like one of those things where, you know, these people have such a big catalog, and and for me, like it's kind of like I'm showcasing myself and waiting to get validation from basically what I consider my peers.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, if I don't get that, then it's kind of like basically them telling me like I'm not part of this community of musicians, which would have been like upsetting. And that was the main reason why it was like hard to like just go up there and actually be present in the moment. But I do remember like, yeah, the leading up to it, I remember like being backstage and being about to walk up on the stage. I remember listening to the person who was on before me and like saying bye to the person who was on after me. And I remember there are little bits and pieces, but yeah, it was one of those situations where I just blacked out. Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
So you're kind of glad you did a song that you really knew.
Exactly.
So you could go with muscle memory and and not worry about it. No, I can totally imagine. I don't know how I would do in front of my peers if I had to, be in front of them and do something, and but no, I don't think I want to do that. But that's all.
No, not at all. It's hard, I perform a lot in front of as I said, I do weddings and stuff. And so the people that are coming to see my shows are like mostly either very excited to see anything because they're at a wedding, or a little bit drunk. So
that could be scary too.
It can be, but it's not, because like it can be like, if they get too drunk, it can be like unpredictable and violent, but that doesn't really happen as much at weddings. It happens more at like at bar gigs or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But still, that's still a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
To do that. And this is cool. I think you know who this is. Here's Cray.
Oh, hey.
What's the inspo behind your wardrobe? You have the best shirts. Cray was just on with us last week, so we know Cray is great.
Thanks for asking, Cray. Yeah. So like what's the inspiration behind my wardrobe? I love that you asked that question, because I have a specific inspiration that I kind of like live by, and it's kind of Winston from New Girl. He is like my personal model. Like, I look at him and I'm like, I want every shirt that he's wearing all the time. And I honestly like see. You can see this like weird pattern that I'm wearing right now. If I see a shirt with like a pattern that I love, that I feel is like really cool, I will instantly buy it. And my wife gets upset because our closet is like mostly my shirts and then a little bit of like her clothes,
Oh, I bet she doesn't like that.
She does not like that at all. No, she's not happy about that.
Oh man.
But no, I don't have as much, it's funny because like I have a friend out in New York, Laney, who he buys a shirt every day before work, and he goes into work and he wears a different shirt every day, and he goes to like the thrift store and buys a bunch of shirts. And like, I don't have as much as he does. Like, I went in his closet and I was like, this is giant. Like, this is like 700 shirts or something. But no, for me, I like to like anything that like really is cool and trendy. I also love enamel pins because I'm a big nerd. I'm a huge nerd. And so I'm a big I like to like have enamel pins that I wear a lot of the time. And so yeah, I that's where my most I get a lot of inspiration from like fitting it with like my enamel pins. So like if a shirt like would go really nice with some of my enamel pins, I'll buy that shirt. Like I'm a big fan of TJ Maxx. I'm a Maxxinista, as they say. So I'll go into TJ Maxx and I'll just like shop, and I probably won't leave there without a shirt, you know. If that's why I can't even go into a lot of these stores anymore, because I'll just get a shirt. Yeah. I'm a shirt guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's see if this will come up for me. Cray says, in case it doesn't, I'll say what it says. My wife loves Winston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winston's a great and underrated character on that show. I'll be honest. Like, I feel like everybody's all about the other characters, and everybody's all about Schmidt, really. But Winston really is the for me, like, one of my favorite characters. And I follow that actor in a lot of different shows. So like if he's on a show, I've probably watched it. Yeah.
You'll probably watch it. There you go. But hey, that's a good thing. And you know, maybe they'll have a different, you know, new style or something that you'll
right. Exactly. I'll steal their style from something else.
Yeah. So
I do this thing actually where I'll see, you know, I'll watch a show and I'll do a lot of Google image searches and try and find the shirts that people are wearing. Like I'm a big fan of the Great British Bake Off, and Noel wears a lot of really fun sweaters and stuff that I'm like really a big fan of, and I've definitely Google searched his clothing before.
So you may have a few little accessories later.
Yeah.
But here's the big question.
Okay.
Which comes first, the shirt or the pin? Or does it depend?
It depends. Like sometimes if the shirt is like a blander shirt, you know, sometimes I'll wear just like a white and black like shirt or whatever, or like just a black shirt. It has a pattern, but it's like a more like understated. Yeah, right. Yeah. So if it's something like that, then the pin is like, then it has to like go with like the pin. Yeah. The pins have to be like the like real like front and center on the shirt. But like if it's like a really fun pattern shirt, I'll put like some of my smaller pins, because I don't really need to show off the pins when the shirt is really doing a lot of the work.
Yeah, when the shirt is there, yeah, you don't need the extra.
Yeah,
pins. I see. Yeah, that makes total sense. Well, I just want to warn everybody in the chat room, we are probably going to be wrapping up in the next few minutes. So if you do have a question that you haven't posted in the chat room, please post it there now, and we will get to it before we leave. Vernon, do you have any closing thoughts, questions, or statements?
Yeah, let's get two more in there. Just a quick thought on how your experience working with Reba has been so far.
Yeah. So Reba is really incredible. She kind of like believes in you and you believe that she believes in you. It's one of those things where I've always felt like she is a fan of my voice, you know, like she is actually like supporting me. And I think that I want to just like be her best friend. She's like the nicest person ever. Yeah. And I relate to her a lot, because like when I moved to the States from England, I watched a lot of her show to get to like understand the culture and speak a little more like an American person. And so I watched a lot of her. And so that kind of like, I've been influenced by her. And in that way, I'm very similar to her, I think, because I can be serious when I need to be, but I'm also a fun, like, you know, sassy guy, you know, like I relate to her a lot in that way. So I love Reba, and working with her is like an honor and just like a dream come true. She's she's so savvy, and her like connections in the industry are really I was gonna say something, but her connections in the industry are really yeah, I know, I gotta be careful, are really like incredible. So it's nice to have somebody that's so like, she feels like a presence when you walk in the room. You're just like, this, she's there. I can't believe she's there, you know.
So, I can see that.
Yeah. So it's really been an honor. It really has. And I hope, I mean, you'll see what happens, but you know, I hope that we continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great stuff, man.
Yeah. Knockouts are next week. So
knockouts are next week. I don't know if I'll be on next week, but because there's, I think there's a week and a half of knockouts.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks. I'm not sure.
Probably two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they go to the fun live. So
I think so. I'm not sure, but yeah, the knockouts. I'm hopefully I'll be on next week, because I'm like, I want to like continue on this momentum that I've been like building on, and I'm excited about knockouts very much. Yeah.
Awesome, man. So are we. Where can people find you on the socials?
Okay, so you can go to my website, adambohananmusic.com. You can find me on all the socials, Adam Bohanan Music. That's the main thing that I use. And if I'm not on those, my website will have all the TikTok. We'll have like all of the information that you need to find my shows and any upcoming projects that I'm working on. Yeah. And also, like, I am still a member of the band On the Sun, which is still technically around. We've all spread out throughout the country. So some of us live in like Pennsylvania and Michigan and New York, and I live in Minneapolis. So like we're all spread out throughout the country. But you can find me. Sorry, they're doing construction, and this whole building is shaking right now.
Really?
But yeah, you can find me. Go to my website. You can find me on there, and yeah.
Yeah, and I'll add the because I've got your Facebook and your Instagram and your TikTok. I'll add your webpage on our webpage. So if you just want to go there, I'll have that up this afternoon, and you can just go to ndbmedia.net under videos, and then under Talented Universe, and then you'll see all of Adam's stuff, along with all our other guests that we've had. I try to put them all up there, but I'd like to thank everyone in the chat room for coming and making a comment. And Arc54 wants to say goodbye. From the biggest sci-fi geek around to another, thank you so much for being on Talented Universe with Vernon and Michael today. You're an amazing talent.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I do. I am a very big sci-fi nerd. I will, if there's new science fiction anything on, I'll probably watch it. So maybe I should do some like like live streams of me watching, like, because anything. I love watching I just finished Agatha All Along, which I know isn't sci-fi, but I'm into the Marvel universe too. So
there you go. Yeah, but as I said, we talked about some things that you might be interested in that we do on the network, but we'd love to have you join us if you'd like to. But Vernon, do you have closing or?
Yeah. Just want to say, Adam, it's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
Great chatting to you, getting to know you a bit, and we wish you absolutely all of the best going forward.
Thank you so much, Vernon. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah, and I'd like to echo that too. I mean, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you saying yes. You're more than welcome to come back again if you'd like to and join us on the network and have a good time, because we have a lot of sci-fi geeks on our network that are hosts. So a lot, because we do a lot of sci-fi programming. So
I will definitely come back to talk about sci-fi any day of the week. You can believe that.
Well, as soon as you watch the Arc,
on
Peacock, because it's on Peacock right now. So.
Great, I have Peacock, so I'll watch it.
Yeah, so watch it, and then you can.
It's literally it's on my list. It's on my list. You know, I'll be honest. It really is.
Yeah.
I know that this is something. It's such a cliche to say, but there's just so much programming on right now.
Well, and you're semi busy right now.
I am a little bit.
Somebody
told me that I'm busy, but yeah. I'm a little bit busy. But I will try. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. You know, I'll watch it. I gotta watch. I gotta get caught up on a lot of stuff, and yeah, I'll watch that as well.
Yeah, watch that as well, and then and if they get a season 3, you can join us for that stuff. So
yeah,
we do crazy things. But on behalf of everyone at Talented Universe and on the NDB Media Network, thank you all for coming. And we have Gail Bliss on next Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, and hope to see you then. Or if somebody else pops up, you never know around here. Sometimes we get last minute people. But everyone, take care, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.